Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. It's the bottom of the hour, and one of the things I like to do is start on time. And so I wanted to go ahead and kick us off for today's event. Whether you're with us here live or watching it on a recording, I thank you for joining me and my friends here at Apex for a discussion around the Collaborative Apps Workshop. This is the fifth in a series that we've been running around the workshops that Apex brings to market to help you. And so let's go ahead and get started talking about today's one, which is collaborative applications or applications inside of teams. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to talk about what these apps are, how you can use Teams as a platform for collaborating, not just with those built-in functions, with those built-in tools, but with lots of custom or line of business applications that you may be already using in your environment, or you may look to be using in the near future. We'll talk about the workshop, which is a great way for you to engage in a planning, exploration, and next steps engagement to start that journey around collaborative apps. The best news is that for many of our customers, this is funded by Microsoft. So you get a personalized, focused engagement in your environment that is funded by Microsoft. Apex delivers you the workshop experience at no cost to yourselves. And I think I will spend some time talking about why it would be great if you worked with us. We're experts in the space and want you to understand how we can bring additional experience and expertise to the table. And so I want you to walk away with a better understanding of the landscape, a better understanding of the platform capabilities, a better understanding of how you can use Teams as your application hub within your environment, not just those native features, how we can help you, do all those things, and what are those next steps. Also at the end, I'll do a bit of a recap. Since it's the last in the series, I'm going to revisit each one of the workshops. So in case you're watching just this one, in case you're attending just this instance, you'll have a little bit of exposure to all the workshops offered and the events and the the learning that you can do around these offerings from Apex. And so just a little bit about us. I guess I'll start with a little bit about me. My name is Steve Thompson. I'm our Vice President of Solutions and Alliances here at Apex. What that means is that I look after our partnerships, especially the one with Microsoft, kind of the one we're talking about today, as well as other hardware, software, and services providers that we partner with to bring a complete solution to you. The other piece of my job is around solutions like these workshops and bringing them to market, making sure that we can, sell, scope, and deliver these in a super positive way, in a high value way for our customers. Apex itself has been around a long time. We've been doing this over 20 years. We're headquartered in Southfield, Michigan, but have national reach, especially in this world of cloud, right? A lot of us have spent some time now really honing our virtual experience tools, honing our ability to deliver remotely. And so in addition to that, as well as the native capability, we really do have national reach. Hundreds of customers served, hundreds more deployments, integrations, migrations, all delivered. And then I want to hit that last one, which is our customer satisfaction. Will our customers refer us to a friend is something that's super critical to us. So critical, in fact, that it's one of the things I get paid on. We've made that really one of our core values, something that we want to ensure that from top to bottom, from finance and accounting to sales, from delivery back to operations, that everything we do is customer focused. Everything we do ensures great customer experiences. So let's talk about the workshop. So the goal of the Collaborative App Workshop is really sort of fourfold. We really want to understand your challenges. The difference between a workshop and something like an immersion experience or a demo is we get in with you and talk about your environment, your specific requirements. In this case, the specific apps you use. And then we want to showcase the capabilities of teams that really fit your requirements. A lot of us are using Teams each and every day. We're probably focused on things like IM presence, maybe calling, meetings like this one, file sharing, whether it's OneDrive or SharePoint, all the native functionality that we've sort of grown accustomed to. But whether it's first-party apps like, Planner or Power BI, or whether it's third-party apps, in that space, I love to use the example of like Trello or Asana, because those are project planning applications, and Microsoft's got both project and planner and to-do and a whole list of things you can use to manage your tasks and projects. But Trello is a first-class citizen when it comes to integration with Teams. Many of our customers use this workshop to get introduced to the notion of, say, bringing ServiceNow or bringing PeopleSoft experience into Teams. I think there's a general goal that Microsoft has stated to make Teams your application hub, and that includes third-party applications. So this is a space where we're sort of seeing that approach we all want to see as partners and customers, which is that vendor neutral, third party is first party kind of approach, and Teams really delivers that in spades. Then we sort of delve into solution ideation, right? We take what Teams is capable of, we take your requirements and say, what are your pain points? What do we design? Where's the low-hanging fruit? What do we go do? And then develop a plan to do it. We hand that off to you. Frankly, one of the things we love to do with our customers is use this as a way to keep and stay engaged. How can we help you deliver those things? And so those goals are really what the workshop is designed to deliver. And it really works in 3 phases, right? So it's led by us as the partner so that you can improve collaboration, communications, and culture by bringing those cohesive team solutions, right? So we assess your environment, define the scope, who are our stakeholders. Then we work through something called the art of the possible. And this is designed to give you experiences, be hands-on with the technology, with the solutions themselves, and do it in a way that's meaningful to your organization. So I've mentioned a number of applications. We would focus on those applications, that kind of collaboration that makes sense for you. Something like ServiceNow, if you're in a field service or a customer service kind of world, you use ServiceNow as your tool. What does it feel like to bring that ServiceNow experience into Teams? And so we really want to show you what's possible. And then that last phase is the critical one. Let's build the plan. Let's hand you tangible next steps when it comes to where do we go from here. I think one of the criticisms of those immersion experiences or the real rich, robust demo is sort of like, well, now what do we do, right? Where do we go next? And workshops are designed to address that, to say that now that you've been through the experience, here's what we go do. Here's what you go do, or here's what we go do together. And that's sort of the rhythm of the workshop experience. And so when it comes to the structure, here's just a little bit more detail, kickoff. We've got some questions that are really helpful when answered by the customer. We go through this experience, connecting and collaborating with apps, custom line of business, and then we build the plan. And I'm actually going to go through some of these modules in a little bit more detail to understand kind of what those experiences feel like. But the critical step is step number 3, right? That build the plan, that idea of what are we going to go do next? What are we going to go attack first? What makes sense in your environment? One of the reasons that I personally and Apex as a whole love delivering workshops is it really addresses that business pain and addresses it in the most leveraged way. And so when we're in the assess phase, we build a scope. Hey, what are we going to do in the art of the possible, right? We've got lots of options. So we want to know what's going to resonate the most with you and your particular business situation, your particular business outcomes. And so this stage is critical because what we can do here is tailor it specifically to your needs, and so that the experience is most sort of closely aligned with your needs. Here's some greater detail and some expectations around timings. That pre-engagement kickoff, hey, are we all on the same page? Who are the stakeholders? And then a questionnaire saying, hey, what apps are important to you? What scenarios are critical? And working through that with you can take a little bit of time, but it's time well spent as it frames the rest of the engagement. It frames it in a way that's super meaningful to ensure that the outcomes are well aligned to what you're looking for. Again, thinking about immersion experiences, thinking about demos, thinking about being pitched by a vendor or someone selling to you. Workshop is designed to incorporate information from you, incorporate your environment, your business needs, your targeted outcomes, and make it an extremely personalized experience. So then we move into the art of the possible. And this is critical in the sense that it gives you the experiences, the sort of what if knowledge to really be able to do stage 3, which is let's build the plan. To be able to build the plan, we kind of need to know what the platform is capable of doing, right? How do I bring those custom line of business applications in? How do I do, business process automation with low code or no code? How do I connect these apps? How do I manage these apps? And we use this to say, what are those experiences we're going to go through in the art of the possible? And so there's some core experiences, we want to talk about sort of the core apps. You can see a list here like Jira and Workday and ServiceNow. The list is incredibly, incredibly long. As an aside, if you're a Teams customer now, depending on what your IT team has done, or if you're in IT, depending on what you've done, you can see the app catalog. You can see all the apps that have that native sort of, first party or core experiences integrated with Teams, things like Jira, things like Workday. To be honest, one of the things we talk about in this workshop is, do we turn that off? Do we give people that amount of insight? Sometimes I've seen customers end up in a situation where folks think that the Teams apps are like an app store. Like, oh, hey, I can buy Workday for my team by adding it into Teams. Not really. It's really designed to bring in those apps you've already engaged with, you're already consuming as software as a service or line of business applications versus going out on a shopping trip. We'll talk about those low-code experiences. Also, building custom line of business applications. There's some really interesting and some very simple tools when it comes to building Teams applications. So simple that I've done it, right? And so that's really saying something. That as a end user, a power user, I've created an app and published it to an environment based off of, hey, let's just go to a web page, let's sign in, let's consume a web application right within that Teams window. That's super easy to build, super easy to manage and publish out to the world for other people to use. Then we've got some optional modules, is digital signing, Adobe Sign kinds of things. Is that interesting to you? Ticket resolution and self-support, right? Hey, ServiceNow, virtual agents. We've got some sort of, we've got some additional experiences that have a greater level of detail, a greater level of immersion that you can do. What about bookings? This is a big one for us, right? I've got a sales team that's always trying to hustle and get appointments with our customers, right? Whether they're new customers, whether they're existing customers. One of the worst parts of their job is managing that back and forth. When are you available? When are we available? And there's been some iterations over time, but what about the bookings app? How do we use that in Teams? How do we roll it out to the environment and make it something that everybody can consume, right? And so these are some of the optional places we can go, and there's lots of places. I'm not going to talk to each and every one of these, but process automation, do you have a lot of frontline workers, right? What about using Viva and using Viva as a part of Teams to understand how we stay engaged with frontline workers? One of the things that we've helped a lot of customers do is deploy and integrate Teams based on different customer personas or different end user personas, right? There's a difference between HR and sales and the knowledge worker and factory floor or field support. But the common denominator is there still can be a ton of value in these collaborative apps based in Teams. And so we have experiences that focus on that as well. We can even talk about things like identity and access management and that seamless user experience. We can talk about governance, right? I mentioned that app catalog turning into a shopping cart for people if we're not careful. They think, oh, hey, I'm not an Adobe, Create user, but I see it on the list of Teams apps. So if I add it, then I get the back-end service, right? There are some best practices in this space when it comes to managing that catalog. Hey, what do we publish out to people? What do we want them to explore and add and see if it works for their business? What do we want to hide? What do we want to control and only publish to certain people? We have control over the app catalog, and so we love talking to customers, especially their IT folks, about, hey, how can we manage this, right? It kind of goes back to the initial introduction of Teams. We spend a lot of time with IT teams talking about, hey, do you manage this? Or do you say, hey, business users, you can create your own teams, you can create your own channels. Apps sort of has that same experience or that same requirement that we think about. And then lastly, let's build a plan, right? Let's go ahead and take everything that we gathered, take our experiences and the ideation we did in the art of the possible. That's really the most fun for me, is when we're going through those sessions and I can quite literally see the light bulbs go on, right? A decision maker, someone in the business that I'm working with sees how a process or a pain point that they have maps onto something we just experienced, right? It's a great feeling. It's a great experience for the end user, for the business user, to be able to see how this technology can help them and help them quickly. And so we build that plan and hand it off to you, right? We go through and do a prioritization exercise, right? One of the things that we help customers with all the time is if you think about sort of that 4-quadrant, Gartner chart, and say, hey, what's got a high rate of return and what's going to be easy to do? That's the stuff that's up and to the right. It's easy, it's quick, whatever those metrics are, but it also has tremendous value for the business. And so we help you prioritize. Where do we start? Where do we go first when it comes to these things, right? There's going to be some high value things that are going to be a lot more work than others, right? Creating that priority list. How are we going to adopt these things and manage the change? Teams is an incredibly powerful tool. And then when you get into this world of apps, it just gets even more powerful. Okay, well, that's a lot of change for an organization. How do we introduce that in a meaningful way, in a controlled way, in an informed way? And then leave you with a report and recommendations. Deliver this to you. Selfishly, I hope there's opportunities for us to work together on bringing value to your environment after the workshop is done. In some cases, we hand that off to incredibly capable IT teams who still see value in the workshop, even if they have the capability, because it provides sort of that spark, right? It gives them a plan, a roadmap to go forward with, and sort of take that first step, right? Long journeys start with a first step, and I really think these workshops are a great first step. There's some things that are out of scope, right? We're not going to do the deployment. We're not going to do, incredibly complex designs. We're not going to, we might write Hello World, but we're not going to write a custom built CRM app from scratch, right? So just some standard sort of reminders that this is a It's meant to be a quick, maybe 2-week engagement, with some meeting rhythm within it to really create that spark, to create that launch point for your organization. One of the things that's critical in this, and frankly, in all the engagements we do with our customers, is having that buy-in, having that executive sponsorship, being present. We don't want to deliver, for example, art of the possible modules that make no sense for you, right? I don't have a field workforce. All right, great. Let's skip that. No harm in doing that, right? And so providing that feedback, providing access to the teams, having an executive sponsor and stakeholders that really work internally on making sure that this is top of mind, right? This is time well spent because, like I said, it's going to give you that spark and give you those next steps. So why work with us? We've got tons of experience in this space, in the Microsoft solution world with workshops. We're one of Microsoft's go-to partners in this space. We're field managed by Microsoft. We're down to, not that many partners in the US that still have field management. That's Apex, right? That's the relationship we have. And we can take you from this ideation and this spark through deployment and integration or migration, and even through support, managed services, all of those things that are ongoing. We can deliver the licensing, we can deliver the ancillary solutions, we can connect you with, maybe less so in this case, but the hardware or the third-party software you might need to make a solution really sing. We have those relationships. That's part of my job, is that we have those relationships to bring to the table across the spectrum of anything you might need. So that's really this workshop, right? And I'm just going to roll through as kind of a recap, starting with this workshop, but then cover the other 4 real quick to say, hey, we're here. We can deliver these workshops, help you be a hybrid hero. So I've spent today talking about collaborative apps, and you really got a deeper dive into what that one means for you. We also have a workshop around endpoint management, right? Still something top of mind for most of the customers we talk to, especially in the world of BYOD or bring your own device, that it's critical to have great strategies, great rules, a great approach to managing those endpoints, securing those endpoints, understanding what kind of endpoints you have out there. What about onboarding? What about offboarding? This workshop takes you through ideation, kind of like I've described today, but specific to your endpoint strategy. One of the things we love to do with our customers, and it's really a top of mind solution, is Microsoft Teams rooms, right? That hybrid meeting experience. This is where our connections with vendors like, you can see Logi up there on the picture, or Poly, or Yealink, or whoever it might be, bringing that robust software solution platform and hardware solution to you. And this is a workshop to really kickstart that experience. What does a good hybrid meeting feel like? What are the tools that you need? How can we help you start your journey towards getting these, whether they're the rooms in the office, whether they're the people that's remote, to build that meeting equity so that every meeting's participants are on the same page, that are using tools that make them the best version of themselves within the meetings. We love delivering this workshop and helping customers along this journey. We also do a lot of work in communications, specifically Teams phone, Teams calling, and the things that you can do to collapse even more infrastructure within that Teams experience. The feedback from customers and end users is that when they see Teams capability for voice and video like we're using here today within their organization, they start asking questions about that phone that's on their desk, or having to share their mobile number with their customers and partners. How can you use the infrastructure that you already have to do modern communications? And so here again, there's a hardware story with personal devices. There's a partnership story when it comes to direct routing and calling support for what you need to do. And there's a great story within Teams around making that capability just second nature, right? Whether it's on Teams Mobile or on the desktop client, great phone and communication strategies available. Great workshop in this space. Would love to deliver it for more customers. And then we also do a lot of security work for customers. And based on that, we have a workshop that we offer called Secure Identities and Access. Identity access, that's where 95% of your problems come from, right? Whether it's doing some of the low-hanging fruit like self-service password reset, turning on multi-factor authentication, dealing with conditional access. This workshop walks you through that process of saying, hey, what's possible in M365 or Office 365 that I already own or that I could easily migrate to? And then based on what's available, what's the most important stuff to you, right? Where are the security opportunities within your environment? Is it conditional access that says, hey, when somebody's not on the corporate network, I want to do some sort of challenge response using the Authenticator app or tokens. Maybe I have a select class of users that have additional rights within the environment. I want to multi-factor authenticate them no matter where they are. All of those kinds of considerations, we walk you through them in the workshop. And just like we talked about today, we come away with a plan. Hey, here's some go-dos. Here are some things that can deliver value in your environment and deliver value quickly. And then last but not least, I want to plug my next, I don't know if it's casually called this. I think there's a bit of external branding. It makes me super uncomfortable. Fridays with Steve. It feels a little self-aggrandizing, but you know, I guess I'll roll with it. So next Friday live, if you're listening to this live today, if you're in the audience today, on November 18th, we'll be doing a Teams device strategy. So there's lots of options in the market. I've mentioned a few vendors, but then you've got room dynamics like small, medium, large. Do you have a conference table that's square or round or a big U? Do you have comfy furniture? You know, can we mount it to the wall? Do you have glass walls? Do you need furniture? And so I'll be talking about all of those considerations, including what kind of meetings are you doing, right? Is it folks remotely listening in, or is it full-on collaboration? They have to be equal participants in a brainstorming sessions where 5 people are local and 3 people are remote. There are device pieces to all of that, and I'll help walk you through the strategy, how you can think about that, and how you can plan for those best meeting experiences. If you're here with us today, that's next Friday, same time, same channel, in that we'll be delivering it at the same time. We're going to experiment with some different modalities, so please sign up, follow the link, sign up for that event. I'm actually not going to spoil the surprise. We're going to be using some new and sort of cool technology to deliver the event. So if nothing else, come see the show as they try and teach me to deal with a new platform. So what are your next steps as we wrap up today? You know, if you're an existing customer, reach out to your account executive, right? And say, hey, I listened to this guy. I think his name was Pete. And he said some really interesting things about this collaborative apps workshop. It proves you didn't, you listened close enough to know the value, and reach out and we can get that scheduled for you. If you're not a customer, just reach out to sales, reach out directly to me, Steve Thompson. I'm sthompson@apexdigital.com. I'll get you connected. We'll get you scheduled for a workshop, and really make sure that you can kick off and generate that spark when it comes to collaborative apps. We've also got the deep dives on all those other ones I sort of did a drive-by on, available. Just reach out on the web to our blogging site and our video site. There's also more coming when it comes to other channels and flavors and ways to get in contact with our content, with our expertise, with our people. And so definitely stay tuned for that. So every once in a while, I sort of glance to my right, sort of monitoring Q&A. Doesn't look like I have any questions that haven't been handled by our moderators. Thanks to our moderators for handling all the questions today. Nothing that I need to address sort of live stream. And with that, it looks like I'm sticking the landing again. We spent 30 minutes talking about the Collaborative Apps Workshop. doing a deep dive into why that's valuable for you and your environment, why it's tailored to your environment and focuses on key next steps. And then we did a quick drive-by on the other workshops that Apex offers and brings to you to deliver value. And then a quick plug for our event on November 18th. I hope to see all of you there again with me as we talk about your device strategy for Teams meetings room, Teams rooms, Microsoft Teams rooms, say that 50 times. And so if you can join us, that'll be great. So with that, I'll wrap up today's session. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for talking about the Collaborative Apps Workshop, and we'll see you again soon.